Judy K. Lowry Mungia went missing from Odessa, Texas, 1981. This is a cold case. It's an old case, and I think there's evidence to solve this. This may have a connection to the crimes here, the underground homes, and all that. You're really gonna be blown away about this. Okay, I posted on Facebook here, missing from Odessa, Texas. This missing lady was the aunt to Angie Mungia's former husband, and Angie was a person that left my home in October 2010 and was at the oil show parties in 5 minutes. She told me about a young girl there that didn't want to prostitute and said they killed her. I tried to get her to report this murder to the police, but she was afraid and said that high-level police were also at those parties, which were obviously held in the underground homes that are well documented being here. One of them's in my backyard. Several people have given me information about this missing person, but like many other missing and or murder cases here in Midland, Odessa, our police never investigate. There's obviously a reason for this. A guy named John Hamilton posted on my YouTube channel and said her body, talking about Judy Mungia, is not under the concrete of the body shop buildings. It's under the cement behind Lupe's house in the old center block original shop buildings. He didn't say maybe. He said that as a fact, didn't he? John also said, when Lupe dies, I plan to go to his son and ask him if he wants to know where his mother is. Lupe was not going to let her take his son away or give her one half of the body shop. That's what John Hamilton said. And this is from the Charlie Project, just the information. Judy Mungia was last seen departing her residence in the 5500 block of McKnight in Odessa, Texas at approximately 1 a.m. on May 28, 1981. She was planning to drive to a friend's house in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma at the time. She told her husband she planned to be gone for several days. She's driving a gray 77 Lincoln Continental. Mungia never arrived at her destination and has not been seen again. She was reported missing 5 days after she was last seen. Her car was found abandoned at Will Rogers World Airport in Oklahoma City on November 14th, 6 months after her disappearance. Authorities determined that the vehicle was parked in the airport's lot since June 7th. There was no trace of Mungia at the scene, and 2 small pieces of luggage she took with her were not in the car. 5 spent .22 caliber bullet casings were behind the back seat of the car. Foul play is suspected in Mungia's disappearance. Her family does not believe she would have abandoned her young son or left without telling anyone. She dropped out of high school and married young, but eventually got her GED. She's involved mother and not had a close relationship with her parents. Her case remains unsolved. Now, I showed you the already the Charlie Project flyer here, and her date of birth and her age when she went missing, her picture here. And like I said, this was the aunt of the husband, the former husband of Angie Mungia, and she's the one that told me about the oil show party murder. Here's where John wrote on YouTube, John Hamilton, her body is not under the concrete of the body shop buildings, and I'm going to show you there's a whole bunch more other people that have talked about this too, but as far as I can tell, the police have done nothing, and we might figure out why here in a minute. A whole nother guy named Charlie Franks Jr. posted on my Facebook and said, my papa, Malcolm Owens, poured the concrete slab that you're talking about. I'm almost positive she's under that slab. And I've got the print screen. So, it's not Buddy said that Charlie Franks said. I have the print screen proving it. That's the bottom line, right? Here, Lupe Mungia, the husband of the missing woman, Judy Mungia, was at Joe Commander's retirement party. Joe Commander was a longtime Odessa law enforcement officer that had one time ran for Ector County Sheriff. That's over in Odessa. Several people posted online that Joe Commander was a dirty cop, and even said that Billie Dunn, the mother of the missing murdered child Hailey Dunn, was one of his girls, as in a confidential informant, CI. I had wondered if he was connected to still in the Hailey Dunn, Cody Mercer murder tapes that multiple people said that the police now have. Okay, I've made very many movies about this. Basically, I was posting online about Joe Commander, and then poof, he retires. Was that connected to my my post? Well, I'm guessing it was. Joe Commander's retiring at the end of his March 39 years in law enforcement. And then a friend of mine says, oh, that's Lupe Mungia at his retirement party. So evidently that Lupe Mungia was friends with this alleged dirty cop over in Odessa. The late Raina Brott told me that Billie Dunn was one of Joe Commander's girls. This was the mother of Hailey Dunn, and this is it, Raina, before she died. And she's the one that told me that she believed Hailey was killed at her house on Cloudcroft in Odessa, and said, "Don't tell anybody I told you this. I'm afraid of these people." And 6 months later, she's dead. You know, was also one of Joe Commander's girls. By the way, Hailey's mom was one of Joe Commander's girls. That's been hidden from the public by the police and the press, that the mother of this missing murdered child was a confidential informant working for this Joe Commander over in Odessa, or that alleged. Jessica Hadley, a whole different person, also said that Joe Commander was corrupt. And in the same message, she told me about the oil show party rapes. Okay. You know, and Jessica right here says, "I've been 2,000 of them oil shows. I tell you what, there's more than one girl was murdered, raped because she didn't do whatever I do." And I don't know if you know or not of Joe Commander as well. He's totally, absolutely corrupt. And she goes on about him. Okay, isn't that interesting? Albert Lange also told me a story about this alleged dirty cop that was a friend of Lupe Mungia. And here it says, "When my other nephew was killed, Frank Perez, out there on the railroad tracks, I watched Joe Commander. I'm not kidding. I watched him pick them up in the alley. I seen things that most people won't believe. Thank the good Lord I'm still living. They shot my house. They burned my truck in front of a yard. They tried hard. Believe me, I've never found an underground cavern." Okay. And so another story saying Joe, and I found this posted on the CBS 7 news site. This guy, I don't even know, David Martinez, and I think he was saying he worked for Joe Commander, and they did a whole bunch of illegal stuff, you know, and doing their drug, because I think he was over the drug stuff over in Odessa. 3 people told me that the murders of Hailey Dunn and Cody Mercer were recorded, and the police have the recordings. This made me wonder if Joe Commander had those tapes, since it was said that Billie Dunn was one of his girls. Okay, and here's Brandy she says there's a video and the cops have it. And I said, "A video of what? Hailey's murder?" "Yes, it was a video of Cody Mercer's murder. The cops have both." Okay, so Brandy Dunn says that, and then Jessica sitting here telling me about this Cody Mercer, and I said, "It sounds like this guy you're talking about. Sound like you're talking about Cody Mercer, and this woman Brandy told me this, and this." And she says, "Yes, that's correct. They videotaped the whole thing. It's disgusting, and it's absolutely true." So that was 2 people said that them murders were recorded. The police have the recordings, and there was another person told me that I don't have documented. 3 people told me that, and told me they watched them, and you know, and how disgusting it was. Okay. Hey, I'm moving on. In October 2010, Angie Mungia Hurley was leaving my home and at the oil show parties in 5 minutes. I know this because we were talking on the phone while she drove there. Remember, it was her aunt that went missing, Judy Mungia, or her husband's aunt, or former husband. I believe she was parking in the Home Depot parking lot, going underground in that store, and then coming back towards my home via the tunnel that can be seen on Google Earth Maps. One of the 4 underground safe houses is located in my backyard, which is where the infamous oil show parties were going on. This is my home. Okay, this is where I was shot by somebody under my home. Then the backyard is one of the 4 underground homes that could be seen on Google Maps. Behind the Home Depot store, you can see where they cut a ditch, right, coming right at my home, aimed directly at my home. And I believe the people at the oil show parties were parking in the Home Depot parking lot, going underground in that store, coming back through this ditch, right, or this tunnel, and the parties were here. And this is where they were forcing the little girls to prostitute, but you couldn't do nothing about it because of the high-level police that were also at the parties. I believe one of them was probably Sheriff Painter, because Joe Lozano, when he was running for sheriff, was recorded saying Painter used to hide out in them underground homes there. I have that recording on YouTube. Okay, here's some comments. Jeanette Covert says, "On McKnight, heard this story many times." And she says, "Yelp and Charlie Jr. would not lie." Oops, McKnight. Dirty cops, you know, and I said, I believe there's a reason that the police have never looked under that concrete for Judy Mungia. Here's a whole nother person, Christy Lee. I heard the same exact thing. A close friend of hers said everything John said. Many know this. She was leaving him and she disappeared that night, and the concrete was there the next day. Okay, but the police don't want to look there, right? I wonder why. You know, I wonder why they don't want to look. You know, and you know, here's a murder, you know, cold case that they let go cold. I live right down the road from him and have heard this story from many different people. This is Oscar Alvarado, whole nother person, okay? And I told her, I told him, I said, I was first told about this by Laura Ludwell Dennis, an editor of Odessa American. You could ask Laura. I doubt if she would lie about it. She's the first one that told me about it. This Buddy Webb, Midland, Texas, another missing woman